This wasn't a trip. This wasn't a vacation. This was an exit. And it happened while $12 million vanished and a prince was left staring at empty accounts. What unfolded at LAX didn't look like celebrity travel. It looked like urgency. Panic wrapped in designer sunglasses. No entourage parade. No carefully choreographed smiles. No glossy paparazzi shots magically appearing from random sightings. This was quiet. Too quiet. And silence, when it comes to the Sussex story, has always been the loudest warning sign. Early Los Angeles morning. A private terminal. A single unmarked vehicle. Witnesses said the woman stepped out quickly, head down, scarf pulled tight despite the California warmth, baseball cap low, dark glasses oversized, not the usual optics, not the usual control. Airport staff noticed immediately because when someone who usually demands attention suddenly tries to disappear, alarms go off. And then came the detail that froze everyone in place. A one-way ticket. Not London, not New York, not Canada, Dubai. That single word changes everything because you don't buy a one-way ticket halfway across the world unless you're closing a door behind you. You don't go to Dubai for a quick reset. You go there when you want distance, legal distance, financial distance, narrative distance. You go there when you don't want Western courts, Western media, or Western accountability breathing down your neck. And while that flight was preparing for takeoff, something else was happening back in Montecito. Prince Harry, according to multiple whispers racing through legal and financial circles, was on the phone. Not casual calls, not routine check-ins. These were frantic, breathless calls to advisors, lawyers, anyone who could explain why $12 million had vanished from accounts he believed were secure. Not delayed, not misposted, gone. $12 million is not a rounding error. It's not a billing issue. It's not bank confusion. It's a number that suggests planning, intent, movement, strategy, and timing. Because the money didn't disappear months ago. It didn't slowly bleed out. It allegedly vanished right as that one-way ticket was scanned. Now stop for a moment and picture the contrast. One person boarding a long-haul Emirates flight, private suite, closed doors, champagne at 35,000 feet, while another is standing in a California mansion staring at drained accounts, staff salaries, security bills, legal retainers, all suddenly uncertain. That's not coincidence, that's choreography. The atmosphere at the airport tells its own story. Witnesses didn't describe calm, they described agitation, constant phone checking, sharp exchanges with staff, a woman watching the clock, a woman racing something, or someone. Because if Harry noticed the money before the wheels left the ground, everything could change. Accounts frozen, transfers flagged, authorities notified. Once airborne though, different game, different clock, and the destination matters more than people want to admit. Dubai is not just luxury and glass towers, it's jurisdictional complexity. It's privacy for those who can afford it. It's where assets can slow walk through layers of protection while lawyers in the West fight uphill battles. It's where money doesn't answer questions quickly. A one-way ticket there doesn't whisper, it screams. Back in Montecito, the picture is darker than anyone wants to say out loud. That mansion isn't just a home, it's a machine. Security teams, PR retainers, legal fees, maintenance, staff, millions every year just to keep the lights on. If liquid cash disappears, the illusion collapses fast. And that's why this isn't just a marital crisis. It's a structural collapse. Harry didn't just lose money, he lost leverage. Because now every question becomes sharper. Was this authorized? Was this agreed? Or did he wake up to discover that joint accounts aren't protection when trust evaporates? Insiders whisper that he believed everything was being handled, that he wasn't watching the ledgers, that he trusted the system around him. And trust in high net worth marriages is often the most expensive mistake of all. Meanwhile, the silence from their camp is deafening. No rapid denial, no friendly magazine source, no carefully worded statement blaming misinformation, nothing. Phones ringing, emails unanswered, PR offices dark. Silence like this doesn't mean confusion. It means containment. It means people scrambling behind closed doors trying to figure out what can still be controlled and what can't. And then there's the children, because no one saw them at the airport, which opens 1,000 doors nobody wants to walk through. Are they still in California? With nannies? With Harry? Or is this separation phase one, money first, logistics later? Custody battles are brutal inside one country. Across continents, they become weapons, and money funds endurance. Money buys time. Money buys the best lawyers to stretch proceedings until exhaustion becomes strategy. Harry's greatest fear has always been history repeating itself. Chaos, instability, loss. And now, according to those close to him, he's watching that fear materialize in real time while the person he trusted most disappears into the sky. The internet, of course, noticed immediately. Flight trackers lit up. Aviation forums locked on to a specific Emirates departure. Screenshots spread. Speculation exploded. When that plane landed, would cameras be waiting? Or would she vanish seamlessly into a city built for quiet power exits? Because, make no mistake, this didn't look spontaneous. You don't liquidate 8 figures overnight. You don't coordinate a one-way international relocation without months of groundwork. You don't just leave like this unless the decision was already made. Which raises the most uncomfortable question of all. Was Harry already written out of the plan? As that plane climbed higher, the narrative on the ground shifted. This wasn't a breakup rumor. This wasn't a rough patch. This was an extraction. Financial, strategic, and emotional. And Harry, for the first time since walking away from royal life, wasn't controlling the story. He was reacting to it. The wheels lifted. The door closed. The money was already gone. And this was only the beginning. The moment that plane touched down, the story crossed a line it could never uncross. Because what happened next erased any lingering doubt that this was impulsive, emotional, or accidental. This wasn't a woman running from chaos. This was a plan snapping into its final position. Sources on the ground say the arrival wasn't messy. No confusion. No wandering through terminals. No uncertainty. The aircraft door opened, and waiting on the tarmac wasn't airport staff or local authorities. It was private security. Not one car. Not two. A coordinated convoy. Dark vehicles. Tinted windows. Engines already running. The kind of reception you don't arrange in a few frantic hours. The kind of reception that tells you this destination was chosen long before the suitcase was packed. She didn't enter the terminal. She didn't face cameras. She didn't pause. She moved fast, controlled, rehearsed, straight into a waiting vehicle and vanished into the night. And just like that, she was gone. Back in California, the panic phase was over. What followed was worse, because panic is loud. Panic is movement. Panic is calls and pacing and shouting into phones. But when the reality sinks in, when the math stops lying, panic collapses into something darker. Despair. Inside that Montecito mansion, the scale of what had happened began to settle like a weight on Harry's chest. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't something a quick transfer reversal could fix. The money was gone. The person was gone. And the future he thought he was building no longer existed. Legal voices around him didn't sugarcoat it. Recovering funds, once they move into layered international structures, can take years, if it happens at all. And years are a luxury reserved for people who still have liquidity. Security bills don't wait. Mortgages don't pause. Lawyers don't work for promises. Every hour that passed without action tightened the trap. And then came the call. Not to friends, not to former allies, not to the media, to London. To the one place Harry swore he'd never crawl back to. King Charles. The conversation, according to those familiar with the palace response, was quiet, controlled. No shouting, no lectures, just facts, and a line drawn very clearly in the sand. Help would come, but not the kind Harry wanted. No public rescue, no defense of the brand, no shielding from consequences. The offer was simple, brutal, and final. Return, alone, silently. A life away from cameras. A residence provided, not chosen. Legal teams assigned, not selected. No more interviews, no more memoirs, no more truth-telling crusades. And most painfully of all, a managed separation leading inevitably to divorce focused entirely on protecting the children. It wasn't a bailout, it was a surrender. The message was clear, safety could be restored, but freedom was the price. Meanwhile, the most dangerous variable remained unanswered, the children. Because money can be replaced, reputation can be reshaped, pride can be swallowed. But children are leverage in its purest form, and leverage determines who controls the endgame. If they remained in California, Harry had a fighting chance. Jurisdiction, familiar courts, time. But if they were moved quietly, later, separately, the battlefield would shift instantly. International custody fights don't favor the slower player. They favor the one with funding, preparation, and position. And position right now belonged to the person who had already landed. Dubai isn't just a refuge, it's a reset button. A place where titles still carry weight, where luxury markets don't ask uncomfortable questions, where reinvention doesn't require apology. Hollywood may have turned cold. The UK press may be merciless. But elsewhere, the Duchess narrative still sells, especially when paired with capital. And $12 million isn't just money, it's runway. Runway for lawyers, runway for PR, runway for silence when needed and noise when useful. The narrative is already shifting. This won't be framed as disappearance. It will be framed as escape, not as abandonment, but as survival, not as extraction, but as independence. Words will be chosen carefully. Victimhood will be polished. Strength will be emphasized. And it will be expensive. Back in the UK, the knives are already out. Tomorrow's headlines won't ask questions, they'll declare verdicts. Warnings once dismissed will be resurrected. Every ignored concern will be quoted like prophecy fulfilled. Harry will be painted as knave, love blind, outmaneuvered. And that image sticks. The hardest truth settling over Montecito is this: the story Harry built his identity on is gone. The us against the world myth collapsed the moment one side took the money and boarded a one-way flight. What's left is isolation, friends lost, family estranged, a public image in ruins, and a future that suddenly requires help from the very institution he tried to burn down. There's a cruel irony here that can't be ignored. The freedom he fought for ended in dependency. The independence he chased ended in control. The love story sold as unbreakable ended with a wire transfer. As the hours tick by, options narrow. Each delay strengthens the other side's position. Each quiet moment allows money to be layered, hidden, protected, and Harry knows it. The next move he makes or fails to make will decide everything, whether he fights publicly, retreats privately, or disappears into managed obscurity while lawyers battle over remnants. One thing is already certain: this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't emotional. This was calculated. A one-way ticket, a drained account, a silent exit. The fairy tale didn't fade out, it detonated. And what remains is a prince staring at the cost of trust, measured not just in millions, but in everything he gave up to believe in a future that boarded a flight without him. The House of Sussex didn't fall slowly. It collapsed in a single night at 35,000 feet on a one-way path with no return. Path with no return. Path with no return. Path.